Welcome to the Austin Action Fest Addicts podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Keisha CG. I'm also one of the coordinators for the Austin Action Fest. I have with me Benjamin Reddick the second. I'll let him introduce himself.
Ben Reddick, aka the Violence Conductor, aka Lord Reddick. I'm here. We're gonna have some fun talking with our special guest, Hristiana. Did I say it right?
Yes, you
That was
did.
correct.
Thank you
Boom.
so much for being with us today. And as soon as we get Danielle, we're going to let her jump in with her intro for you. But for right now, because like Ben said, you will definitely want to hear that and get to keep it. So, but for right now, we're going to jump right in. And we want to ask you if you can just tell us, how did you get started in filmmaking? What made you want to become a filmmaker?
Oh man, so ever since I can remember, since I was a child, I always had my head up in the clouds, I always wanted to be involved in fictional worlds or at least daydreaming. I remember my first acting gig or play that I partook in was in kindergarten. It was for the story called The Hungry Caterpillar. If you remember that book by, I think it was Roald Dahl.
I
And
do.
I did that, and I was the caterpillar. And after that, I hadn't had an acting role or anything like that for, I think, for years. I think it was even in high school when I wanted to do theater, but I just didn't have the block free, so I just didn't do it. And then it wasn't until college where I actually, did a play, took acting classes, and it kind of confirmed for me that yes, like this is what I love to do and this is what I want to do. Um, and it came together because I always like I said, I always had my head in the clouds, and I grew up on watching a lot of cartoons, actually a lot of Japanese cartoons, a lot of anime, because in Italy when I was growing up, they had like imported a lot of that at the time. So I wanted to immerse myself in cool stories and be the conduit for amazing stories. And so it wasn't until I was, like I said, in college, and I was in San Antonio, Texas, where I took more acting classes, and I looked into agencies. And then I started with my first agent. I got a gig as an extra on a television show. It was what was it called? American Crime. So I did that, and then I just kept auditioning and networking in the film community here in Austin and the surrounding areas. And I ended up doing a lot more indie film work and, getting with my current agent, which allowed me to have all these amazing opportunities that I have now with like commercial auditions and TV and film. So I'm just really grateful that I like pursued my gut and pursued my dream and just kept, going with it.
That is
Awesome.
awesome. Very, very awesome. And I saw Danielle just slide in just a little bit ago. So, like we mentioned to you, I know we kind of got out of order a little bit, but Danielle has an intro for you. So, we want you to get to hear that.
Okay.
Oh, Danielle, you're muted.
Oh, you're muted. Or we can't hear you, put it that way. We're working out some tech issues. This is all good.
It's okay.
Oh, also, yeah, Tana, we got a comment already. Who is this here?
Oh, my
Charles
friend
Brown.
Charles. Hey, Charles.
Yeah.
He's one of my friends in the gaming community.
Okay. Yeah, because we did see that you were doing some things with gaming as well. What are your favorite types of games, Hristiana?
So, as you might know, my favorites are RPGs, just because, like I said, I love immersing myself in fictional worlds and, taking in good stories. So, RPGs, action adventure, haha, big surprise. So, yeah, in particular, I love Japanese RPGs. Cliche, but, you know. And Final
No, they're
Fantasy
good.
series is one of my favorites. So,
Oh, okay. That is not much of a surprise,
not
actually. That's
much.
where a
Nope.
lot of people cut their teeth,
Yeah.
you know. So No, it's all good. Let me pull something up here while we're doing this.
Okay, so I want to take it back to what you were saying about how you started. You started really young, being interested in film and acting and everything. So let me ask you this. I think I kind of know what you would say because I know you've done a couple of other things, right? Other than act, I think you produced a couple things, like you've written things. Am I
Correct.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when it comes to being on a project, if you had to just choose one thing that you could do, what is that main thing that you would want to do?
Definitely acting, just because, while I enjoy writing and while I've directed before and enjoyed it, and do really, really enjoy it, I feel like with acting, it's so magical in the sense of, you're being that, like I said, conduit for the director or the story, and just having that exchanging of energies, with your co-stars, or having an audience watch and give an emotional reaction to what you did on camera while you're inhabiting that character's world. I feel like there's a sense of magic to it that is unique in that profession. So I would say acting for sure if I had to choose one.
Yes, and I see your whole face lights up when you talk about it. It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. How did you get into doing action films? How did you go from just acting dramatically to acting in action?
Well, action wise, I haven't been in as many action flicks as I would like, but I'm trying to
Okay.
change that. And I just slowly, I started doing more stunt training and got a little more confident. At the beginning, the first thing I did action wise for a 48-hour film was, just falling on the ground, very basic. And then I took some more stunt classes in Austin with a martial arts gym, and learned how to roll correctly and fall correctly on a mat, because I'm no gymnast, and I'm not like a Cirque du Soleil person, and was never really a dancer. So, but I love to work out, so I try to maneuver myself in whatever way I can. I might not be, like maybe fun and fancy free on my feet, but at least, maybe I can dish out some cool moves, at least keep myself safe while falling. And so, wait, what was the question again? Sorry.
I asked, no. What you're saying actually matches exactly what I asked. I asked how you got into action films.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was answering the question. I feel like I veered off.
You were still on the trail. You were there.
Gotcha. That's how I got in. Yeah, just the willingness to just start doing more and more consecutively or incrementally, and doing some stunt training. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Ben, is it possible for us to pull up her reel so we can watch it? You should have two there. You should have, I think it's the theatrical reel and then her commercial reel.
Okay, let me get those queued up for us.
So people can get a chance to check that out.
Yeah, definitely gotta show it off a little bit here.
Yeah.
So let me get this share.
Here we go.
If you guys can't hear this, let me know, because StreamYard gets weird about that sometimes. And here we go.
You worked for the people, and for all of it to crumble just for some fucking kills. It's all been a facade, hasn't it? Just so you could have a career, so your image could be perfect. But guess what, Nat? I'm done. I'm sick of your lies.
Should the city of San Antonio increase funds to help the homeless population? Your voice and vote matter in the upcoming elections.
¿Tienes miedo al cucuy?
What's wrong with you guys?
I'm tired of turning the other cheek. They deserve hell.
Okay, ladies. What are we doing?
Your queen.
You're not spending a day in here. Tell me, How to get out?
You have to figure it out. Just like everyone else.
What if I don't?
What does that entail?
The freedom part? You get to go home. You get to be free. Is that clear?
I've only been in here 3 fucking months.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you,
Clap,
thank
clap,
you.
clap.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
there we
awesome.
go.
Back.
All right. They were gearing up for my favorite part of the show, actually.
Oh, are you ready for me?
Ready?
All right. Well, this is good for right after your, yeah, it'll go into whatever you just did because it's awesome. Okay. All right. Hristiana, am I saying your name correctly?
Hristy.
Hristiana, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Sola, correct?
Soula.
Sula. So now I know that now. So good. Awesomeness. All right. It is pretty. Hristiana Soula. That's great. That's good. It's beautiful. All right. Meet Hristiana Soula, a Greek American film and commercial actress who's infiltrated the world of storytelling with the precision and allure of a secret agent. While she made her mark in the Texas film industry, her roots are as international as her talents. Born in the ruggedly beautiful island of Sardinia, did I say that correctly?
Yes.
All right. Born in the ruggedly beautiful island of Sardinia and raised across Europe, Christiana's multicultural upbringing has forged her into a woman of mystery, depth, and unparalleled versatility. Fluent in multiple languages, she's the kind of woman who can move through worlds with ease, each new character as captivating as the last. Her journey from an imaginative child to an unstoppable force in the film industry is nothing short of cinematic. She has worked with major brands like State Farm, O'Reilly, and Keller Williams, and has quickly become known for her commanding presence, leaving audiences and directors alike wondering how they ever survived without her. But Hristiana's talents don't stop at commercials. She's carved a name for herself in the world of film, where her fierce authenticity and complex characters have set her apart as a leading lady on the rise. For Hristiana, acting isn't a job, it's her mission, her calling. The Greek proverb, fate cannot be avoided, describes how she attacks every role with the calculated precision of a spy on a high stakes mission, leaving nothing but the raw, unapologetic authenticity. But don't think for a second that she's all business off screen. Christiana is a dynamic mix of elegance and intrigue. A connoisseur of lossless quality music, she doesn't settle for anything less than perfection. And yes, she's double jointed in the elbows. A secret weapon, perhaps? She brings her own brand of eccentricity to every project. There's only one Hristiana. She brings her unique perspective to everything she does, and normal doesn't make the cut. On set, she's a force of nature, like an agent on a mission, pushing limits, shattering expectations, and inspiring her fellow critics to aim higher. If you want to do it with your heart. A philosophy, a Greek philosophy she applies not only to her work, but to life itself. Thank you for being with us today. We appreciate your presence.
Wow. Thank you. Good job.
Woo!
The part about being double jointed, that took me by surprise. I love how you scooted these. Wow.
Hey,
Oh,
it's your secret skill that you never know. You might need that in some type of something to get through something. So
Like a horror movie.
exactly. So sorry for the delay. I apologize.
It's okay.
No, that was awesome. That was awesome. So of all the roles that you've done, all the things that we've seen you got a wide range there. And before we even get into that, just a couple things. There's a lot of hand claps having. There's a lot of people who are very excited about seeing your work. Our friend Chilimwe Washington says, "I love the way she cusses."
How
So
funny.
I don't know if you've ever gotten that particular compliment before,
I
but there
have
you go.
never, but I'll take it. Thank you.
No,
I
but
would
like
be
of all those
curious.
roles, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I would be curious to have him elaborate, but maybe not.
Yeah,
So
me too. But yeah.
maybe we
I
just move
think
on.
he's also like the fact that you were multilingual, which is dope.
Yeah.
Something I
Yes.
definitely desire to put to use in some kind of way. But no, that was really, really awesome. So out of all those projects that you kind of got to see there, your showcase, which was your favorite character to play?
I would say definitely, even though, it's a 48 and, the 48-hour film competitions, they can never be perfect because you only have that 48-hour window. I would definitely say the one with the mask, the masquerade character, where I speak in Greek and I make the lights flicker, just because I got to use, I got to be Greek, and also, but I got to be like a very fierce, mysterious, vampiresque sort of character that just comes in the middle of the film and just, screw shit up, just, I wasn't, and I did that purposefully. I was like, how do I make myself, impactful, but not, I don't need the whole screen time. I just come in and do that. I don't know. I like to be a little chaotic. I like to be, kind of in that gray area where I'm not like, oh my God, good, or oh my God, evil, but there's, that ambiguity. So I like how that character is that way, and also just the way the costume was too. I was really proud of that.
Awesome. No, that was a lot of fun there. And I know I saw you recently, as we were making reference here to Mad by Sheilava, where you play the caterpillar. I don't know how to say that. Safida.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think that's the last time I saw you was on that particular set, and your makeup and your costume and everything was elaborate, I guess is the best word to call what that was. You tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, what can I say? I mean, that was an awesome character, an awesome music video. Love the song too by Sheilava. And I was so honored to be able to portray that character because it's kind of a character that gives wisdom to Alice. And so, I'm sitting there smoking my hookah, giving wisdom to Alice. And then after that scene, the next time you see me is as the butterfly, I'm leading the charge, or signaling off the charge, right, between the white queen and the red queen. And it's sort of, again, like the character's kind of an outlier where she's not like, when you first see her, she's not, oh my God, on the good side or necessarily an antagonist. She's kind of mysterious, literally perched up on her mushroom. And that was another thing, they built a mushroom set, a little corner for my character, which I thought was so awesome. So even though I was sitting there on the shroom, it was still so fun, I still had so much fun. So
Awesome. Okay, I know you said that your primary desire is to act. What in Texas, quite frequently, people do multiple things, right, to pay the bills. So most of us don't just do one thing. Which of the other things you do adjacent to acting has been the most useful to get you into acting, or get you roles, or get in front of the right people?
Right. I would say definitely, producing definitely goes in tandem with acting pretty well when you're an indie filmmaker. So I would definitely say producing and, writing the story, coming up with the story, because, you should write what you want to see yourself as. You can't necessarily wait for others to cast you as that. So it would be between producing and writing, just because I think those two go very well, complement acting very well. Directing is really fun too, but I don't necessarily have to act if I'm directing. So I would say between producing and writing has been the most useful.
Okay. So when you're given a chance to write and kind of make that stuff happen for yourself, what normally gets written? Like when you're the one and you can do whatever you want to, what are the types of projects? Are we still seeing the fantasy type stuff? Is it more dramatic?
The next one I have in mind, I mean, I don't know exactly how the story is going to be. I haven't figured it out yet, but the feeling I have is I want it to veer in kind of a sci-fi/fantasy territory, and definitely include or incorporate some action stunts that I've learned, or just action in general, flex my wings more there, and maybe have it be a story of, have it be a story with a strong female character, a warrior type, because I definitely connect a lot to those types of characters. And yeah, that's what I'm looking to do next for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Why do you
How tall are
connect
you
to those
again?
type of characters?
I just feel like it's a way to express that side of me where, maybe in real life, every day we can't exactly, fight the bad guys or be in a situation where we're in a, in a battle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or casting magic at people. So it's kind of my way of escaping the mundane of the everyday life. And, also as a Greek woman, I just feel like I've always had a strong sense of self. And so I feel like that kind of helps manifest like my warrior version that comes out, or that strong woman that comes out on screen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I know Ben asked what your height was, but so if you could answer that question, but also in connection with that, do you the Greek side of you is fascinating to me, also the American side of you, because you're obviously we're American. So, but the mythological background that is heavy within your ethnicity in a sense. Um, do you ever really look at that and call into that and bring that into your acting?
oh, like if I kind of channel like a mythological figure, or if I identify with any of the Greek goddesses, or
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I guess if you're that type of method actor, yeah, maybe that. But if you're not, and just you're fascinated with your own history, because that's a history of you, and that's one that not a lot of people have that in our circle. And so, obviously, we have African and Native American, and obviously the American piece of it. But just there's a strong warrior sense. There's these gods. There's all these different things that people that play within our as an actress. I guess you could call on say, yeah, I'm calling on that spirit. I'm kind of not that person with the calling on the spirit, but just looking at how that fits into history of your history. I don't even know what you're connected to in a sense. People may look at that. So I know it's a deep question. It's a long, drawn in question. But I don't know if you've ever thought about it as well.
yeah, I mean, I definitely. It's funny. Growing up, I was always more into other people's or other cultures. Like originally growing up, I wasn't as into my Greek history. As I grew up, as I grew older, I was more interested. But yeah, I feel like I always identified with or loved the symbolism, or even the types of animals that owls are.
Mm,
Because they have such big soulful eyes, and then they're associated with Athena, who is, she symbolizes, a very strong
yeah.
powerful figure.
Yeah.
So I always
Warm
kind of,
wisdom.
yeah, and so I always kind of was, I would say, I guess identify with her, or at least always kind of looked into that mythological figure.
hmm Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that.
I like that. That's actually good because even when you brought it up, I was like, I'm sure I have some friends that are Greek, but I don't know that any of my friends are Greek. No one's
I've
ever
got
said anything
one
about
more,
it.
Oh.
one other person.
Oh.
So know you and then
Yeah.
another person. That's it.
Yeah, but then again, but also, yeah. But how tall are you? I forgot about that. We're not glossing over that. How tall are you?
5'9".
So that's
Oh.
good. It's good, right?
All right.
We need that size. We need that height
Yeah.
sometimes for certain roles. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I got some things that are in the back of my head. They're turning right now because I don't know if you can see back here. Not so much. I'm blocking most of it right now
Your
because of where my camera
swords?
is. Oh yeah, we got some fun stuff. It's like a lightsaber up there somewhere. Couple blades, daggers. Yeah, that's my heart. My heart is always in the fantasy and the adventure and all that kind of stuff. Um, I think that's the coolest stuff. And I actually came up on JRPGs just like you're talking about. And we were playing things like Chrono Cross. We were playing things like Guardian Heroes, which is more of an action RPG. But we grew up playing those same sorts of games. And that was some of the only real content I had that was in that vein of some grand adventure, you know, in different races and different people and different creatures and magic. And, you know, I realized later on in life that I used to say my favorite type genre was action. And that's not really true. I actually prefer adventure action films. Like I want to not see some normal stuff and someone to go on a journey. Like that's my jam. And it wasn't until I was maybe, I don't know, I was probably like 8, 9 years into film by the time I realized that was actually the truth. Because you know, if you said, "What's your favorite film?" It was like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
that's not just a straight action film, right? That's like there's way more. Or Princess Mononoke.
Mhm.
It's a big adventure with magical creatures, right? So I'm vibing with you. I totally agree on all that stuff. If you could get into that something, what's something that you would do differently in that genre? If that's the route you want to go, what's something you would like to see done? If you got a chance, this is what you would do that would be different from all the other stuff you've seen, or done better than the other stuff that you've seen.
Ooh, that's a
You
good
know, that was
question.
curveball.
So it's a live action sort of thing. I mean, does it have to be live action, or is it, or can it be animation, or we're specifically
It could be
talking about live
whatever you want, however you want to take that.
action?
Live action, animation, doesn't matter.
Something original or something you want to take you've seen and put a spin on it.
Yeah.
Either way.
Well, I haven't really seen too many take on, like, if you were to do a live, if Netflix or someone was to do a live adaptation of, you know, an RPG series, like let's say Final Fantasy, you know, I would want to make sure it's done in a way where it's respectful to the source material, because sometimes, you know, these adaptations, they kind of take stuff and Americanize it in a way, or they change it to where it doesn't have its original charm. So I would want to work, you know, as closely with the original development team as possible for the on-screen adaptation, and you know, kind of listen to fan input a little bit, because at the end of the day, you know, fandoms they are like kind of the lifeblood of a lot of series, and I would want to make sure it's kind of it's not, it doesn't take away the spirit of that, I guess, JRPG adaptation. So what I'm saying is I would want to see a JRPG adaptation, but you know, not turn it into something like what was that 2009 film, Dragon Ball?
I knew it.
Yeah,
I saw it in my head as you
that.
were talking. When you were talking about staying true, and I was like, she's gonna say Dragon Ball. She's gonna talk about Dragon Ball Evolution. I can see it. I can see him on the roof of the car doing like a windmill or something stupid. That movie. I'm sorry. We're normally very nice about movies, but that was painful and it hurt my feelings, because I think that's one of the movies like that are why we didn't get a lot of adaptations for a while, because people weren't taking them seriously. And I do think
Need
you're
some
right. I
ice.
do think a
We
lot of
need some
people got their
ice.
hands on properties and they didn't know
It
much
knows it
about
has.
it, didn't take it seriously, and then you got what we got. So that's a good answer. That's a good answer. I didn't expect you to start throwing shade at movies like that, but that's good. We'll take
I
it.
mean, I don't want to throw shade, but it's like, it's kind of like,
No,
we could
go
do
ahead.
better.
Throw shade. Yeah, if
Better.
they need to do better, they need to stop it up. Prop it up there.
I mean, I haven't watched it yet. I'm planning to, but it seems like the live adaptation of One Piece, for example, is making people happy. So that's a step up.
Yeah. Yeah. For the record, Steven says that Dragon Ball was painful. I know it was. It was very, very weird. Very Americanized. But I will say, yeah, the new One Piece. I was one of those people that was afraid of the show because it was like 800,000 chapters, and I was like, I'm not trying to. I don't got that kind of time in my life to go back to the beginning of this thing. So I kind of speed ran certain parts of it and watched explainer videos. But then I watched the One Piece show, and it was actually pretty accessible. It kept the vibe pretty well for someone like me. And I'm like, I'm kind of picky, specifically when it's action stuff. And I was like, this is pretty good. I'm sure you can nitpick anything, and it's very hard. It's very hard to try to adapt something that's been animated where the person was able to do whatever the heck they wanted to on a tapish. That's very difficult because you can put whatever you want on that screen when it's animated, and you can't necessarily replicate this. We're going deep right now. You can't necessarily casually replicate Garp's Galaxy Impact casually in live action. Like, there's a lot that has to happen for that to be even believable, for it to even kind of work. So they did a pretty good job. What did you think of? You may not have seen this. What did you think of Cowboy Bebop adaptation?
I didn't watch it, but I mean, I would still like to check it out just to give it a fair shake. But it looks like a lot of people were like, about it.
They're pretty mad about it. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move on. But and Charles Brown is asking about Yu Yu Hakusho, Poltergeist Report. But what I will say is we're gonna have to get you on some of these reviews then, because since you have some knowledge of these things as an actress, as an actor, we're gonna have to get you on there to critique. One thing I will say, just to close all this stuff out, is that a lot of times people are adapting content and they don't realize. I heard a man say it in an interview one time. He said, "You're not getting built-in fans; you're getting built-in critics." So when you make changes, when you adjust things, they got to be great. They have to be better, because there are things you have to change when you're adapting an anime or a book or whatever it is you're doing, and people just don't seem to think that you have to. That that's the truth. You're getting people who are very, 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 very knowledgeable about the thing that you're doing. Like, I got a lightsaber up there. I got a Star Wars shirt on. I don't know everything about Star Wars, but I read some books, played a lot of games, and I watched a lot of fight scenes. There are a lot of things I do know. And it makes me I'm a harder person to please in some ways than a random. So something to think about as we move forward with the other things that we're going to be doing creatively. So let me ask you this, since I know, for the record, Dragon Ball, I'm sure you guys tried very hard in your movie. It's very difficult to make a movie. Props for finishing it and crossing the finish line. Everybody gets a clap for just finishing the project, because that's so hard. And then to not shelve it, that takes guts. So you get props for that. So Hristiana, in your experience and everything you're doing, all the things you've done, all the roles you played, like, outline for us one time that was like really, really difficult. Doesn't have to be a time you failed. You don't have to do that. But like, what's a role or a production you were in charge of that was like very, very difficult? Like, how'd you get through that?
There was one 48-hour called Ascendance. It's the one where, if you remember my reel, I was cussing in that one, but I played an alien abductee, and most of the film is me going back and forth with the interrogator, asking me, okay, well, basically, okay, she's grilling me, basically, like, okay, you were abducted, okay, but what happened? You're claiming you were abducted, what happened? Because I'm in a mental institution also, so she's trying to see if I'm, just making it up, or if I'm like it actually happened, which it did. And I had to get into that space really fast where I was, on the verge of crying one moment, but then the next, looking just really crazy. And, makeup helps with that a lot too. And then, of course, since it's a 48, there's things on set that, sometimes you work with people and you say, oh yeah, come on board. That they'll go ahead and like make a mess of the set or the location that you secured, which is never a good thing. So I would say it was more of a logistics thing that was the problem than really the acting, because the acting is a challenge that I welcome, but when you can't control the logistics and things kind of, go kind of sour, it's like, ugh. So I would say probably that one.
How do you emotionally get yourself there? Like you're saying, you have to look crazy at one point and then go into another emotion at another point. How do you get yourself there?
I try to emotionally recall, any, like if I lost someone like important to me. So, okay, I have to be sad, right? Or think of someone I wouldn't want to lose in my life, or something bad happened to them, or, think of a scene from a piece of media that made me cry. So I try to emotionally recall that. Now, it's not easy in every moment to do that. So you really have to get yourself in that zone, So I think that's, for me, doing that, like crying and stuff, I think that's the hardest part, because you only have so many tear ducts, or you have so many, so many tears in those tear ducts. So yeah.
No, that's true. That's true. So
wait, that's true. I'm just saying, I don't think I've ever heard anybody put it that way. I've only got so many like to the director, like, hey boss, I got like only so many tear ducts. So can we?
So we have about to do this scene 8 times.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm sorry. Continue, Keisha. I apologize. Sorry.
No, and in line of that kind of question. So what happens like when the director calls cut? Emotionally, what happens with you? Can you cut that off, or you're like, give me like 5 minutes? Well,
if it's cut and we're still going, I'm still in that mode. I still stay in that mode, and until we're sure we got the shot, then I'll be giddy and happy again. But until we're not sure we have that shot, I'm staying in that mode. But I can get out of it easily, because I have so much fun on set, whatever it is. And so I think for me personally, I think that getting emotional can be a challenge, because I'm having so much fun on set. So I really have to get in a sad mode, get in a depressed mode, but in an environment where I love it. It's one of my favorite things. So I just make sure the shot is good, and then I'm back to myself.
So you see it as a section of acting. This is maybe a visual that I pull into my psyche for a moment, right? Not method, and stay in there, and then closing that page and moving to the next page afterwards. So you don't stay in that, so you don't have to mess with yourself mentally. Would that be correct?
Right. Yeah. Because it's because I know it's acting. So
exactly.
Unless I have to pull up something really bad. But even then, I'm the type of person where, mentally, it's like, even when I have endured something like really traumatic mentally, I still try to put a brave face on, or put myself back together quickly. So I think that's just part of my personality too.
Oh, wow. Okay. That makes a difference. So that's a part of who you are anyways. You can kind of,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very Diana of you. I love it. Stephen says, I'm a warrior. I can't cry. That's awesome. This is beneath me.
We're gonna have a warrior's den. We're gonna have this room we come in. It's the warrior's den, and that Stephen will lead the conversation.
Absolutely. No, it's funny. I've had to do that one time, and I've never understood. Actors are, oh, I need my, don't look at me, give me silence. I never got that until I was in a project, and I had to be like the boyfriend of this girl, and then she like turns to a demon and attacks me, and they wanted me to like fall and be scared, and I'm just not wired to do the horror movie thing, right? So like, if you tell me you turned into a demon, we're boxing. I'll be terrified, but I'm throwing something at you. You're getting some level of work, right? And the hands, because I'm like, I'm not trying to go out on the ground. No, that's disgusting. It's terrible to me. And so, but that's what they wanted. So they're like, hey, fall down. I want you to fall down because you're so scared, and then do the crawl backwards. I was like, I'm trying to sit there and I'm trying to find a way to get to that place, because that's the farthest place, like crying, blubbering, snot coming out of your nose. You know what I'm saying? And I had to think on like disappointment, like letting my mom down. Because I was trying to find it, right? I was like, this is like one of my first chances, to like actually really kind of act for real. Being a tough guy doesn't really count, but like show some different range and emotions. And it was very, very difficult. And then it was funny because there was two gaff guys there, and they're like joking, messing with the lights. And I'm sitting on the bathroom floor trying to like find the zone. And I was so mad.
To your point of what you were saying earlier, I think what you were saying about people messing with the logistics and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. I was so angry because I was trying to concentrate, and I'm like, dude, I suck at this, and you guys are not helping me right now. But no, that's very, very difficult. Luckily, we didn't have to do a bunch of takes of that. But that's awesome that you have those abilities and you can turn that stuff off and on. Because there's some people who really can't cry on camera. They can't cry on command. They can't do those. They can't emote like that. So that's dope that you have those skills.
Yeah, I was curious about that because to Ben's point too, I've had to do stuff like that on my end as an actor. And so for me, like what I had to do was before I went on, listen to like music. Like it was a very sad scene. I was supposed to be really sad and upset. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to go there. Like I'm gonna need to hear something to make me get sad. I'm gonna have to think about some sad stuff. And so that's what I needed to go there. So I'm just always curious what other people do, how they take themselves there.
To your point about music, I can definitely relate. Because I put this down in the questionnaire you sent me. I know, really, I guess, kind of random, but I am a big music listener. I like to, in fact, have the lossless quality, like, or the 320 kilobytes, and really hear everything in the music. But and even if the music is happy or it gets me pumped up, it also can get me emotional too. So to your point about music, music is awesome. Even though I'm not a musician, I'm not a singer, I really love music. So
yeah, it does something to your soul.
No,
it does something to your soul.
Yes. It does.
Lossless quality.
It's got to be lossless.
I don't even know if I've ever heard anybody talk.
I'm gonna have to talk.
Never heard anybody say that. Yeah.
See, and I never went to study sound or sound mixing. I feel like if I did, I'd be even more OCD about it because that's so particular.
Wow.
So do you? I'm sorry, because I didn't get some of this information. Do you sing or do you? Who am I to judge? Do you rap? I don't know. Do you have any other musical talents we don't know about?
I mean, I've never taken singing lessons or music lessons, so I've never given myself that chance to cultivate that. But I mean, I like karaokeing.
Okay.
Hey, there you go.
Okay.
There may be a role, and then you karaoke. So hey, there you go.
And if people are clapping and going along, that's a good sign.
Waving back and forth.
Yeah. If they're not like, I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
If there's not like a hook coming off the side of the stage, ushering you off the stage, I mean, you're doing probably.
Or they don't want you to go, period, to the place. So if they don't want to, that's a whole thing too.
I've noticed a lot of actors. I don't know if it's a matter of many of them having high level voice training, if that's what it is, but have a pretty good control of the vocal instrument, as it were.
Did you say you had
So a
high
lot of,
level voice training? Then?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, I definitely
I'm
don't
just
have
messing.
any of that.
I thought you
Oh,
said it's
I
somebody
do.
about a high level voice training. So yes.
Yeah, I'm saying but a lot of actors do, and so a lot
I
of
met
them,
you.
you know, surprisingly enough, can hold a tune. You know,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
at least hold a tune. Can, even if they're not Mariah Carey, they can sing
Hold it
chorus
too.
and back you up.
No,
So
that's true.
I,
That's true.
That is true.
yeah, and a
Mr. Rada,
warrior
I
woman
was
from
thinking he was saying that he had high level voice
oh
training, not you having high level training. So
no.
yes, we know. So I thought he was bragging for a moment, and I was going to mess with him. So that's all.
Me? No, I don't. If I was going to brag about anything, it's not going to be singing. But no, my mom was a singer. You know,
Yeah.
Oh,
she was like, she would be considered what you might consider like a karaoke champ. You know what I mean? She's going to
Wow.
go in there and show out with Whitney Houston and I Will Always Love You.
Wow.
She's in church choir, things like that. So she was a pretty good singer. And so I grew up doing a lot of singing, and I did choir as a kid. We used to do sight reading
Yeah.
competitions, all that stuff. I kind of fell out of it, but I'm not a
No, you have a
I'm
great
not
voice,
that
by
guy.
the way. You do have a good voice.
yeah, he
Oh,
can sing.
you
Yeah.
brought up a
Thank you.
memory. I lied. I was in I think it was choir class when I was in like 7th grade. I was a soprano, but we sang all together. So I don't know if that counts. But then I never did anything like singing training again. But like I mean I've done a lot of voice acting training where, you know, I at least have a basic understanding of how to project, but singing wise, we're not there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna find out now. Now it's happening. The next Austin Action Fest, we're probably planning like a karaoke kickoff party night. It's a thing I'm considering. Now that you said this, but no, tell us. That's actually something really interesting that you do. That's very unique. Talk to us more about the voice acting. A lot of people, it's come up a lot for a lot of people recently.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that. What it takes to do that. How you got into it. What kind of training you have.
So voice acting, you know, or as maybe a lot of people don't know this, but it's a little different from full body acting where you have to really make that effort to fully project with your voice and give the audience that understanding that, okay, like now you're happy, now you're sad, even though it's the same line, you gotta project that emotion with just your voice. So, you know, you're putting your whole body into that vocal projection. And obviously, you know, everyone wants a good mic, but if you have at least a basic level of understanding or knowledge about acting, you could then probably get into voice acting pretty easily, at least, you know, a basic level or an introduction. And there's different types, you know, there's commercial voice acting, there are audiobooks, and there's characters. And for me, what I found with my voice, I've been described as having a glottal voice, which is kind of like, this is what it sounds like. Hi, I'm a fish. I'm a fish, and I'm swimming, and oh my god, I think I hit something. So that's what that sounds like. So I feel like I really have a fun time playing characters. I like my regular voice, but then like doing stuff like that is also really fun. So I'm feeling very comfortable in the character, I guess, niche.
Okay. That let me tell you what I did not expect to happen.
I was not
Ask that
ready.
question. No, that's
So are you editing all of your voice auditions and things like that as well, or submitting all those?
Yes, I mean it's just, you know, a basic, like if you start the recording and then you know cut off the little dead space or the dead air. They're very quick, nothing too complicated. I still actually have yet to. I need to get a voiceover demo so I can have, you know, a voiceover demo because I have my theatrical acting reel and I have my my commercial, and I'm gonna put out an updated theatrical, and I'm also gonna put out a comedy reel. But yeah, I need to put some more reels out, and because it definitely helps when people see that organization, like, oh, these are the voices she can do. So got to get to that. But I've been practicing a lot. I've been auditioning a lot, and you know, you get those through your agent, or you can find a lot of projects on different websites. You know, like Facebook. A lot of indie developers actually post, you know, on social media. So there's always opportunities for those for anyone trying to break in.
Where do you get, just in acting in general, where are you getting the most work from? Is it from your agent, or is it from you out there getting after it yourself? Like, what's the ratio, would you say?
I feel like it's been a combination of both. I mean, most of the audition opportunities I get, so many, and so many great ones are through my agent, but I've definitely booked work through, you know, networking with my community and just putting myself out there, and showing my body of work. So it's been a combination, but of course those big projects or bigger projects are going to be through my agent. But, you know, if I'm doing an indie music video and I'm playing a really cool caterpillar character, like that character is no slouch either. So I appreciate the ways in which I can grow when it comes to, I guess, portraying a character, that character development in a short film or a series or a short film or a full-length feature film, like When Wendy Grew Up. You know, sometimes as opposed to, just having like a few seconds for a commercial, because you can't really show character development for that, or although it's really cool when you're a fantastical creature, there's so much more you can do.
I have a question. Has there been a pivotal point in your young career? I'm going to say young because you're much younger than me. That went, wow, I'm going to go for it. I've been playing it safe, and now I'm just going to forget this playing it safe. I'm going to do why I came into this industry in the first place, and I'm going to go for it now and stop being fearful or whatever. If there's something that was holding you back, or have you been that way your whole time that you've been in an entertainment industry?
I think that's a really good question because, well, I've been thinking that way recently, how I need to be ready or want to be ready for the next step. And that's, you know, expanding my representation. And because, you know, you can have more than one agent in different, you know, for different regions. And so I've been mentally thinking about that. And when I got my State Farm commercial, you know, during COVID, that was an interesting time because, you know, it was the first time we had to wear shields or had to wear masks, and, you know, it was kind of scary. But when I got the State Farm commercial, that was kind of like a confirmation of, you know, what I've been doing, it hasn't been for naught. Like you got the State Farm commercial because you kept going and you put in that effort, and yourself 3 years ago even would have been so excited for this opportunity. So each time I get a new milestone, I think back to, you know, years ago where I would have killed to have, you know, multiple auditions a week. So I try to be grateful and keep being grateful at the progress, because, you know, you as an actress, you don't want to stagnate or get too comfortable, because, you know, other people might think, oh wow, that's so cool, but then once you've reached a certain level, you just want to see how much more you can challenge yourself by you know, not putting limits on yourself, because I mean, there's nothing wrong with being ambitious, and if other people around you are fearful for you or tell you that, there's a low chance, it's like, well, I've come this far already, why not just keep going? You know, if you're disciplined and you have a love for it, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They say no to you. Okay. Your ego is a little bruised. Okay, on to the next, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to share something while we're talking here. I want you guys to see this because it's been mentioned a couple times on the show.
Very cool.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is pretty epic. A lot of work going into that. And that's Sheila on the right there. Yeah, Sheila's doing it. This is Zachary Salas Photography, funnily enough. One of the sponsors of Austin Action Fest this year. So boom. See how we just blended that in there? That is epic. That is so epic. So we want to
Very
make sure
nice.
everybody got to see. Is this the wildest costume that you've like had to wear for something? Is that like the most extravagant thing you put on, or have you all done that?
I think that's the most extravagant so far because I've never been body painted in any capacity, and so that was really cool because it was a really, and the headpiece too. The headpiece, it brought it all together. So I would say that along with Masquerade have been my favorite in terms of costume too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you have some modeling photos. Do you typically go out for that, or is it just kind of something? Okay. Because I saw the one of your shots, when your headshots it's very epic. Looked like
Yeah.
some kind of a Roman queen or something in the photo, and I was like, "What is this from?"
Oh, so that was actually it was a collaboration. It was a creative collaboration that happened to it was submitted to Vogue Italia, and they liked it. So as they put it as part of their online gallery. So that was cool.
Okay, we're pulling that up.
Didn't plan it that way, but it happened. So that was awesome.
Look at how epic that is.
Yeah, that's great.
Epic.
Wow, that is so beautiful.
Yeah, I've only done a little modeling myself, but not much.
Here we go.
It's been a while since I've walked.
Yeah.
Y'all are haters, man. See, I'm just.
We're celebrating you. We didn't
No,
say
you're
things
not.
bad.
You're
We're
mocking
celebrating
me,
you.
and I can hear the mockery. I hear it. That's fine.
You're a film fan, man. We're your fan. We're not gonna.
I know my body of work, Daniel.
Especially with that romper out.
Wait a minute. His body of work. Oh my God.
No,
That's not
anyways,
pretentious
no.
at all.
I did model the romper. I was very proud of that.
Yes,
but I
we
actually
all remember the romper.
No, but actually that's not really a modeling job. I did a modeling job one time. It was very, very cool. Like the lady was, it was jewelry. So she like bring a couple jackets, whatever. It was not as extravagant as what you just did. Like I didn't get makeup and a background. It was like, hey, we're going to stand in the street and you're going to put this watch on and pose. And it was cool. Shout out to her. It's cool jewelry, but it wasn't like an extravagant shoot. So it's all good. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Paul says pics or it didn't happen. There are pics. Fine. I'll show you. There are pics. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'll prove it later. I'm not going to do it right now. These
really quick. So that was a photo shoot, right? That was a photo shoot for the Vogue Italia. So that was a photo shoot. Then they submitted the photo, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really cool. It's an idea. If you could remake that photo somehow and create a character and do that, so now you have a image and an actual voice. That is because that's very aristocratic.
Or it's a kind of Game of Thrones, maybe, right?
Yeah, it's got something. Yeah, something that's it's really
nice.
So
again, the fantasy element.
Yeah,
love it. Not opposed to it. Love that. Yeah.
Man.
I'm trying to concentrate. Now they're in the comments being foolish. Is what's happening right now.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, Paul is talking a lot of crap. It's okay. He's gonna get through. I will get my get back. Chilimwe on Instagram says in reference to the voice acting comment, he said, your instrument. You got to make sure you take care of your instrument, lungs, throat, all of it, all aspects of the mouth. He said, basically, yeah, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's very, very important.
What's your self-care? What do you do for self-care? What do you do for you as an actress and coming out of, you're an entertainer. So what do you do to take care of this instrument and make sure that you don't get a burnout? Because it's audition. It can take you down.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm definitely a big proponent of health. So I try to eat as clean as I can, but we always cheat every now and then. Growing up, I'm fortunate. I grew up on a Mediterranean diet. Big surprise. So I love my fish and my veggies and my olive oil. So definitely gotta have that olive oil. And I drink a lot of water. I love, drink a lot of water, and make sure I also remain active, because being mobile and active, I think, especially during our later years, because I do work at an old folks facility, so I see how we can take for granted mobility, right? So while we still have it, why not use those two legs that we have, those two arms, and like I said, be active, and a lot of it is what you eat too. So like I said, olive oil and those veggies, and I love fish and protein, but of course, I love things like, I love ice cream. I love, I like some junk food, but I try to keep my diet mostly clean, but I do love to indulge. I am a big eater, and if I see food, I eat it. But but I also have that balance. So yeah, you got to have that balance, and just healthy ingredients most of the time.
Yeah.
This is awesome. So we got voice acting advice. We have acting advice. We've got
Life advice.
dietitian advice, adaptation. I mean, we've covered a lot of ground here, folks. I think
We have.
we should be proud of ourselves. And for that, we get the horn. All right, that is the victory horn.
So random.
Okay. That was really random. Okay. We like random.
I love it. Well, I mean, it's not more. I didn't get a chance to do the voice. I was looking for an opportunity to do the voice.
Maybe next time, Ben.
You can do the voice if you'd like to do the voice.
Yeah, we don't have I gotta think
That's
of something
close
cool,
as the
man.
voice
I said
that
all
I
this
can do.
stuff.
Okay.
I'm really
Don't do the
upset.
voice.
I got the whole.
You got it curious.
Listen, Hristiana, right? I had
The entire voice board out just for this amount.
and I didn't think of a way to like work it in, and I'm like, it's fine. I'm gonna figure this out next time. That's okay.
Very Darth Vader. I love it.
It is.
Oh yeah, dude. We got a full soundboard. Got like one of these Moana deals because we have the XLRs like you do, and this board is so much fun. Normally Erica has it, so I don't get to use it for the stuff, but she's not doing anything, so I took it, and so it's got all these cool things on it, and I haven't had a whole lot of chance to play with it, but I'm gonna fix that. Every one of these podcasts moving forward, I'm gonna find more ways.
You
hit you
you
guys
need
with
to use
effects.
it sometimes, like Space Ghost would do it when they kind of say the most random, craziest, stupidest thing, just in the background, as background fodder. Just kind of goes
Okay.
by while everybody's just still
I'll-
talking. And
Okay, Danielle. So
I'm
you're
working
giving
it
him more ideas. Okay.
Yeah.
I see
I'm gonna
what
work it.
it is.
Look, I'm gonna work it out.
We're
It
gonna
has
get
auto tune on here too. I'm gonna be like T-Pain. It's gonna be over.
hey, we can do some
You
too.
guys,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
guys
You know
don't even
what?
understand.
We all need to get a T-Pain and have our guests join with a T-Pain type of situation, and we can have a little bit of.
Oh,
Sorry.
this is going off the rails.
And then
This
we
is-
can
yeah.
we can download it at lossless quality.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, there you go.
That full
I gotta hear-
320.
I gotta hear all the little bits and pieces of the arrangement, and I gotta hear every color, every rich aspect of Ben's voice.
So when you do your voiceover auditions and whatnot, are those in 320 lossless?
No, well, actually, no. I think they're 320. They're good MP3 quality, but they're not lossless. But it's okay. It doesn't have to be lossless.
All right. I'm gonna choose not to judge you for that right now. We're gonna
I know.
move on from that. So after all the stuff you've done a lot of cool stuff. It sounds like. What's like the most memorable moment you've had on set? Like, what's something that you've done when you're like, man, this is the coolest?
Man, that's hard because I feel like every set has a really cool moment. I mean, for example, one we haven't talked about. I did another project. It was actually another 48 with Nina, and Trent and Mauricio.
Okay, Baker and Rossetti.
Right. And I for the first time I got to I mean, I didn't have to like ever carry someone on set, so I got to carry Nina on my back, so that was cool. Well, yeah, I love that. It was awesome.
All right.
That is so
Hey, you know
funny.
what? Okay, we're gonna take it up from there.
Okay.
Also, I think
I love it.
Nita, I think Rossetti and Baker sounds almost like a buddy cop movie, but if you changed it for film and they're like a
That's a
director
great
PA
name.
combo, maybe, and they go in and it's
Yeah.
always like, how jacked up is this set? I'd watch that. That's for free, Nina and Trent. But if it's not for free, if you make any money off of it, I need some kind of an origination fee or something if you turn it into a thing. But work that out amongst yourselves. So that's cool. Any other moments you think are really fun that you can remember from a set, like that's just stick out in your brain, like something you did that is so
Oh,
memorable?
I mean, I loved
Memorable.
playing a bunny in a bunny. I was one of the lost boys in the Peter Pan adaptation when Wendy grew up, and
Yeah.
I got to hop around because I was a bunny, and my weapon was a dagger. So hopping around with a dagger, that's a cool little move, right? Hopping with the
that's
dagger.
an evil bunny. Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
sounds like a little
So
bit.
there
Yeah.
were cool
Okay.
moments there. There were
And you
definitely.
did awesome.
Funny.
You were an awesome bunny.
Thank you.
Oh. Ah. That's so funny.
Okay. I think that's probably a first on the show. The awesome bunny. That's a first. We've never had that conversation done
Oh,
before.
that's
Killer
a good
bunny.
Oh, I'm
movie.
sorry. I apologize. Hit the effects button again.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. That was totally accidental. I wasn't ready to do that. See, I'm getting too excited and I'm messing things up.
Dude, I'm jealous.
Moving forward. Who's jealous right now?
I'm jealous of the soundboard now.
Me too.
Oh yeah, it's way too much power to give one man. Far too much power. I wish I could do it on other people's voices, and if we were all like in the same room, eventually when we get to a space where it's bigger enough to do that, we can have a lot of fun with everybody in the same room and soundboards. We're gonna get there. We're getting there. We're working on it. Anything else that we haven't covered about your illustrious career, Hristiana Soula? Is there anything we've missed that we should have brought up or talked about? Something you want to share with the people?
I feel like we went a lot of places.
We sure did, didn't we?
We've been everywhere.
I guess. Well, I guess we briefly mentioned my love for games and my YouTube channel. It's called Tana Greek Knows. When I'm auditioning for films and commercials, I try to keep consistent with that. And I like to, I haven't streamed in a while, but I'm going to get back to it. But not only do I like to stream some of my favorite games, but I like to make theories and discussion videos. And I also interviewed the voice actress for one of my favorite characters, and it was such a great nerdy little moment. So if you want to see me be nerdy and geeky, check out that channel.
Is this what he's talking about here?
Oh yes, he is.
Okay,
Right.
Square Enix. Talk about that a little bit. Just give people a taste of who you were talking to and why it's so cool.
So if you like Final Fantasy VII and you know the character of Tifa Lockhart, the iconic character of Tifa Lockhart, you will probably recognize Britt Baron. She voices her in the new remake trilogy. And I was fortunate enough to not only help her out for a convention, but also, interview her a little bit about the upcoming game, Rebirth, which at the time hadn't released, but it was going to release, I think, in like a month after that. But it was so cool because it hadn't been released. There was that anticipation leading up. And that was also her first solo convention. So it was such an honor for me to work with someone that was in the same industry and had that experience of voicing my favorite character. Very cool, very cool. I don't think I could voice the character because her voice is very different from mine, but I still had that huge amount of appreciation. And even though I calm and professional and everything. I still was geeking out internally because how could you not? You know, it's like, this is my professional side, yes, but then I have my very geeky side.
No, that's awesome. And what was there a specific goal when you started your channel? Was there like something you were trying to do specifically, or was it just, this is fun and I want to talk about it?
So yeah, when I first started that channel, I just wanted to have fun talking about series or video games from Japan that I enjoy, and just spread that love, and just, you know, have another outlet, because why not talk about stuff on YouTube? I actually wanted to do YouTube like years ago, but I never fully went for it yet. But then I thought, okay, maybe it's time to just let go and just let it all out. So at first it was just about having fun, sharing in the love for whatever I was talking about. But now, like the Final Fantasy VII fandom in particular is a really passionate fandom, because the series, well, Final Fantasy VII in particular has a 27-year, you know, history, or it released 27 years ago, but then, you know.
Was it PlayStation 2?
PlayStation
No,
1.
Final Fantasy, yeah, oh.
PlayStation 1, yeah. And, you know, all kinds of theories and discussions for years and years. So that, you know, I had some videos that people responded well to. And so it's like, wow, people, like, for you to say things or to have a voice, even if it's for anything, you know, and you're putting the opinion out on the internet, it's kind of scary, you know. But it feels good when people are like, oh my God, like, I enjoyed this. Oh, this was a really cool theory, or I enjoyed your take. It makes me feel like, oh, you know, like, I should not shy away from sharing my point of view. Because as an actress too, like, your acting is your point of view. So it's, even if someone else might say the same thing or have the same message, at the end of the day, because you're your own person, you're always going to have your own little twist to it. And that also applies to acting too. You're always going to have your own little twist. No two people play the same character or play the character exactly the same. You know what I mean? So I think it applies to anything, a lot of things.
No, that's awesome. No, that's really cool. I mean, the internet is definitely a place of strong opinions. And there are plenty of things where I'm not going to play the whole game, or I'm not going to watch every episode, but I'll watch someone who's very passionate about it talk about it. And that's really, really cool. Plus, those people tend to have more information than me. So I learn a lot from that. And I watch a lot of those explainer type videos, because they give me, like, it gives me ideas for stories. That's where I get a lot of inspiration from hearing the depth of the lore of certain shows. So that's actually really, really dope. Also, quick question: why do people just not like Squall so much? I thought people liked him at first. Very quickly found out that he's not as big of a deal as everybody else is. What's that about? So Squall hatred about.
I think my theory with the FF8 hatred in general is just because it came out after 7, and I guess the anticipation or the expectations at the time maybe were bigger, and so when people played 8 after 7 at the time, maybe they were left with like a sour taste in their mouths. Oh, the story isn't as good, or doesn't come together as well. But, you know, I still really enjoyed 8, and I think with Squall, you know, maybe people didn't take too well to how much of a loner he was, and how I guess he came off more antisocial than anything. But I think he became more liked or noticed when he was Leon, and they made him, the character, a little older in Kingdom Hearts. I think he gained more popularity then. But I mean, I like Squall. He's not my absolute favorite, but I think he's a really intelligent character, and I like Squall a lot. So
okay. Well, Paul seems to think people dislike him because he is a real one. I don't know what that means. Some kind of urban vernacular. I'm not sure what he means by a real one. He's an animated character, but does anybody else know what he's talking about? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So, I mean, I don't play Final Fantasy, but Squall, so I don't know when he was introduced and when was he introduced?
In
Eight.
FF8. Yeah.
So, like what year?
1998, I
Okay,
believe.
so 1998.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
So,
Mhm.
so it'd be interesting to me how that generation versus, I almost want to say, the pandemic
Hmm.
people, how they would see that character, if they would identify um, with that character.
Hmm.
I mean,
I
so
Interesting.
it's the teenager and college age kids in that time.
I
I'd be
think, you
really
know what?
curious.
I think 8 would benefit a lot from the remake treatment, uh, like 7 is getting. But yeah, I think if they do decide to go that route, or even if they just make it one game, I think it could really benefit from it because I personally love the antagonist. I think she's really cool, the sorceress. Uh, really cool character design, and
Hmm.
I enjoyed the twist of how they were orphans. Squall's an orphan. You don't find that out till later. Spoilers.
Mm.
But it has its own unique
20
twist.
some odd years later, I don't
What,
think you
right?
have to say
And
that anymore.
Too late.
I think the opening to 8, well, I think it's the best Final Fantasy opening. It's my favorite opening. The opening to 8. I love
Oh
it.
wow. This is
Yeah.
gonna
Mm.
go viral. This is how we're gonna go viral. We're gonna post about that, and people are gonna hate everything you just said.
Oh,
About,
come
about
at me. There's nothing you can do. You can't hurt me. You can't. Final Fantasy community, you can't hurt me.
Final Fantasy has some of the best commercials, though. To me, I don't know. I just like their commercials. So I never
Look, I
played it,
watched
but I
Advent
know.
Children. I watched that, and I didn't even play the game. I own a copy
Oh,
of Advent Children.
so that was your intro to FF7.
Oh no, I knew tangentially what about everything.
Mhm.
I'm like that. I'll start reading or watching all the videos or whatever. So I knew the story, general stories about all this stuff, and I have I have music from FF7. I have music from 10 Mount
Mhm.
Gagazet. I've played some of the games briefly. I'm not as heavy into JRPGs as I was when I was younger. I'm more into action role playing games.
Mhm.
Like I think we talked about this last time. If I lose, I want to lose because you beat me. I don't want to lose because the stats are different or I'm not a high
Mm.
enough level. That makes me mad. So
Mm.
I'm fine with Call of Duty. You have a different weapon and maybe it's a little bit better than mine, but I'm not fine with you have 200% more life than me and there's no way, no matter how good I am, I can win. I don't like that.
Okay.
So I drifted away. I was, Morrowind, Oblivion, EverQuest, stuff like that. And then I got into more heavier action RPG like Revenant, yada yada yada. That's a PC game. People don't even know what I'm talking about. I apologize. We're in complete nerd territory at this point. But look at my background. What did you think was going to happen if we started talking about video games? Um, and comic books. It is what it is. But no, but I do have a great appreciation. It's just there's so much time investment that
Mhm.
Hmm.
the older I
Yeah.
got, the less likely I was to play a longer game like that. That's all. But I
That's
always
valid.
kept up with Final Fantasy.
Right, yeah, because they've always been at the forefront of like interesting visuals, or there was always a period of time where each game had a different type of battle system. I mean, at first it was turn
Hmm.
based, but then even though it was still turn based, they were shaking it up a bit. And to your point about Advent Children, it's funny because if you ask me one of my favorite movies, yes, I know the story wasn't exactly coherent at first. They released like an uncut version, Advent Children Complete, years later. But for me,
Hmm.
it was one of my favorite movies just because I got to see some of my favorite characters again, animated in such a cool, like, animanga way, between anime character and real person. So I was
Yeah.
anticipating that so much when I was a kid. And I will, even though it's like I said, the story wasn't super coherent, it was more action focused, it will always be one of my favorites just because of it being 7.
Yeah. They threw hands. They
Hmm.
threw hands in there. But I do think that is the thing I watched that made me want to know more about Final Fantasy and the story is because of that particular movie. And that's one of the things we think is really cool is that people are now trying to find ways to take that kind of action and put that on screen.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm here for it because that's like I think Rurouni Kenshin is the best movie I've seen to do that. So the live action of Rurouni Kenshin is very close to anime fighting that you see. It looks real and brutal, but it's definitely over the top, but like not so much that you don't think someone might do that. But there are some fights in there that are like, man, that looks like it's straight out of an anime. Because Americans we don't tend to make fight scenes that look like that. So no, absolutely awesome. So if you got a chance to do outside of Final Fantasy, let's just stop. Let's just put a pin in that right now. Outside of Final Fantasy, if you got a chance to remake or remix or do anything with any existing property, like what's your one? Money, not a problem. Time, not a problem. What's the thing you want to go make better or be a part of?
And it like you said, it's a live action adaptation.
Mm-hmm. Live action.
God. Well, I've always really been into Resident Evil, and I actually really like Devil May Cry 2. There's no live action for that, and I'm a big fan of the new Tomb Raider reboot games, especially. I know there was already a live action, but I think that if they made maybe a series or probably a series. I know there's an animated series out. I haven't seen it yet, but if they made a live action series of that, staying close to the source material, I think that could do pretty well.
Interesting. Okay. It's funny. You're the second person I've heard mention Resident Evil. I actually know someone. We may have to talk offline. I know a guy who has an interest in doing something with Resident Evil locally. So we might be able to connect you with somebody on that particular front there. Okay. Good.
That's a game that I played when it originally came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to play Resident Evil. It used to be a serious game where I had to stop because of time.
Ooh, she froze.
She froze.
That's hilarious.
That
is.
Freeze?
Dang.
Yeah.
Great shot.
Time.
Yeah, I love Resident Evil. I don't like the series. But anyway.
Really? Which way? You mean the one with Lance Reddick in it?
I forget who's in it. I don't even remember who's in it because that's how much I was invested.
It was the recent adaptation, right? I watched it. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it wasn't as close to the games. Definitely, there was maybe like one reference to the typewriter, but besides that, I mean, there wasn't a lot of game references.
Yeah, that would be.
See, I'm not deep enough in. So wait, so Daniel, just make sure you're talking about the series of movies or the TV series. Which one are you referring to?
The series on Netflix, wherever it was on one of those.
Okay.
So, yeah, I didn't like it.
Well, Lance Reddick was in there, so because of that, he's probably a cousin of mine, and because of that, I have to kind of like it.
You can kind of like it.
Is that the he played the what character was it? He played the antagonist, right? Or no?
Yes. I mean, in that movie, in that show, is he really that? I mean, he is the antagonist, but I don't know if he's really that in that one. Would you consider him in that series really? I don't know. Or maybe they're just trying to make him more sympathetic. I guess that's why I'm not reading him that way. But he's definitely the bad guy.
Yeah. He's fantastic, though, in everything he does. So.
Yeah. Wesker. He plays Wesker, right? Wesker.
Yeah, he plays Wesker.
Okay, yeah. He was great.
His name is spelled. Oh, he's awesome. He's a Reddick, right? So there's that. His name is spelled wrong, but okay. You know, what can I say about my family members? They don't spell things right. But outside of that, you know, he does a good job in pretty much everything he was in. So shout out to Lance. He was a real one. See that call back to Paul's comment about a real one? See? Boom.
Well, so you do know what a real one is. That's good to know.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I was raised in better English than that, madam. My mother did not allow us to speak in such a way in the household.
Really? Okay.
My upbringing. Absolutely not. Actually, she did. My mom was an English major, so I was actually spoke very proper English as a kid. There was very little slang. Just for,
I
you
can
guys
believe
don't know that? Huh? Probably now that I say it, it makes a bunch of sense. But oh yeah, she was a stickler for grammar. So grammar, syntax, and diction. So
Oh,
yeah,
that makes
had an
a lot of
interesting
sense.
upbringing.
Same
That
thing in my
explains
Yep.
family.
many things.
Yeah, this is because it's Hristiana's fault, technically. So
It's my
we
fault.
have covered
What did I do? What did I
that they're
do?
learning all these secrets about me. They're learning these secrets because of you.
It is
I
your
love it.
fault,
Oh
Christine.
my god.
Boom, got another chance
She's
to use
going
it.
into voices. He's going into voices.
Yeah, it's going somewhere.
Getting wild over here.
I think there's an indication that it's about that time. So what speaking of which, I think we've gone through everything that was critical that we said we're going to talk about. Is there anything else that anybody wants to ask Hristiana? From this is the audience. That's from Keisha and Danielle. If Hristiana has anything else she wants to say, speak now, because we're about to close this bad boy out.
I don't think I have any more questions. Danielle?
Oh, I could go for days, but no, I'm not going to do that right now.
You
I'm
wanna
really
go
curious about you. You're so. I mean,
Um,
you're so full of so much, and I'm like, there's a lot more in there, and so, but no, I'll put a period in it for now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you come back
Well, we're
and
gonna have
hang out with us another time.
Oh,
Oh,
gladly.
absolutely. We're gonna bring her back on some topical stuff. I'd be interested to hear your take on the Rohirrim movie that's out. I have not seen it. I haven't heard much about that one. But we might bring some people like you in who have an interest in fantasy and lore. And
Oh, I'm a
we'll talk
real
about
one.
that.
She
Yeah.
is.
According to Paul
Paul is
Purvis.
accurate.
Paul
That is accurate.
is
Thanks,
he's
Paul.
so hood. He's so hood. He's such an urbanite. So that's an inside joke. Anyways, on that note, family and friends, it's been another episode of Austin Action Addicts, the podcast. Thank you so much, Hristiana, for coming and hanging out with us. We're gonna talk later. There's a lot of crossover here. We'll chat about some fun things and some opportunities. Keisha, Danielle, you can say your goodbyes, whatever you want to say to the people out there in YouTube world. Go ahead and say it now, because we're finna close this bad boy out.
Go for it, Keisha. No, I'll come back.
I just want to thank you for being with us. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun, and it's been such a fun time talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And ditto
All right.
to Keisha, as well as remember everybody else out there watching. I know, Ben, you usually say this, but I'll say it real quick. Don't forget to subscribe and like and join us on our next episode. And if you have any comments and things you want to see, please share with us.
Thank you. And on a final note, Chilimbwe says that we're the real ones. So I think that's a victory
He's
for
not
us all to
wrong.
celebrate. And on that note, y'all have a good night. Keep fighting. I'm Ben Reddick, the violence conductor. Keep brawling out there. We'll see you